Hello. Hi, you guys. I'm so excited to be here. Hi, Lori. So you're the first name I see, the first comment I see on the first time I'm back on Let's Talk Tuesday. Hi, Allie. Good to see you too. It's so good to be back. Oh, hi. Hi. Teja, Adam, so good to see you guys. I'm so glad to be back and amongst our Let's Talk Tuesday family and friends. Yeah, just glad to be here. I know last week you had the joy of having Diego step in, and I saw all the comments. So, of course, he never disappoints. So, thank you, Diego, for stepping in last week. Appreciate that much. Hello, Apollonia and Betty. Hi, you guys. So good to see you. I'm glad you're here. And if you have any questions for me, please post them. I am glad to be back, Adam. It's great. And I can't believe that we're already in the first week, I guess, middle of the second week of March. So, hi, Jenny. Good to see you, Knoxville. I don't think I've been to Knoxville. I've been to Memphis and, of course, Nashville, but I haven't been to Knoxville. So I'll have to make it over there one of these days. But it's good to see you guys. Hi, Robin. Good to see you. So I hope you guys have been well and that with Diego last week, you were able to kick off our Let's Talk Tuesday in style. I mean, how could you not with Diego? Because, he's a man of style and panache. So glad I get to be back with you this week, and hopefully we can get back in our rhythm and steady. Hi, Rod. Good to see you. Thank you. I'm glad to be back and glad to kind of get going. It's been a busy couple of months already since the beginning of the year, but an interesting busy. And I don't know how it's been for you, but it's been, oh, hi, Venus. Oh, thank you. It got cold here today, and so it's cozy. I need it. Some days don't you just need that, like, you just need to feel cozy. You just need that comfort, the touch of something soft and comforting. So yeah, that's kind of how I was feeling today. So Lori, NRB. Yes, I've been to NRB before, but just briefly for like something specific. I was able to be there a little bit more this time, but again, not a ton. But it was great to see everybody and to be at the ICVM Crown Awards and run into people, and that's always fun. So it was great to see you, Lori, and you look beautiful and just your bright, beautiful smile. So it's great to see you. Same thing, Venus, great to see you. So it's been busy, but a different kind of busy. So I had one project that we were going, straightforward. We were almost done casting and ready to start principal photography in just a matter of weeks. And then I got an unexpected call that project was shutting down. Never would have expected it. I've worked with this producer for a long time. Never expected it or saw that coming. So that was an unexpected kind of twist to my beginning of the year sort of rhythm. And so it's been interesting because it's, you get going and you get into a rhythm and you kind of set up your process and your routine. And then when that happened, it really did kind of throw me for a loop. And I had other projects, but they weren't going to be starting for much later. And so I just kind of had to switch gears a little, but all good. It's all good stuff. God is in it all. And I can already see his hand at work even in that rather unexpected twist. And I'm actually quite grateful. So, yeah, unexpected, but well, unexpected to me, obviously not to God. So, hi, Chase. Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, Venus, thank you. Yeah, so you may know I'm on the board for ICVM, and so we were all helping with the Crown Awards, which Isaac Hernandez produces the Crown Awards, and he creates all the voiceover, all the visuals. He does such a beautiful job. Yeah, if you guys know Isaac, you encourage him because he puts in hours and hours and hours in something that's completely volunteer and does a beautiful job. So Isaac is one of the main reasons that those awards go so smoothly and look so good. So, but it was a joy to be there and see everyone. Let's see. Yeah, Adam, it was a bummer. It was a really fun project, but it may come back around. You never know. It may come back as quickly as it went away. That's our business, right? Let's see. The Hernandezes. I love that. Hi, Jared. I'm glad you're doing well. That's wonderful. Yeah, Diego, it's your first time at NRB and the awards. So, yeah, I think they do a good job, and it's a great opportunity. And it's typically been in Nashville, although I thought Paul Sermons told me that it was going to be somewhere else next year, but I don't know. Don't listen to me. When I know, I can tell you the specifics, and I'll confirm that. But DC next year. Okay, so DC for ICVM next year. I'm sorry, DC for NRB next year. ICVM was at DC a couple, like a year ago, 2 years ago. So next year, if you want to plan for NRB, it looks like it'll be in DC. So there you go. Hi, Amy. Another from Knoxville. Amy, where's my other Knoxville? Jenny, do you know Amy? You're both saying hello from Knoxville. Deidre, hi from Dallas. Hi, y'all. So, okay, I did see a question, so I'm going to jump into that as we talk a little bit. And let's see, Jenny Lamb asks, what suggestions do you have on how to get more auditions? I wish I had a formula that I could tell you where you just did ABC and it happened for you. The only thing I can tell you is that there's a lot of it that is out of your control. So the things that are in your control, you need to just be really on top of. And that means making sure, excuse me, that all of your materials are the very best they can be, that you have whatever media, whatever tapes available. So if you have an agent, then hopefully they're submitting you for projects. If you don't, you've got to be your own agent. So that means paying attention to the casting platforms, submitting anytime that you can. But it also means doing your own due diligence to be in touch and have your ear to the ground as far as things that are coming up or projects that might be in development. That's why community is so nice, because often we can share with each other things that you've heard or a project that you may know of that's getting going. But there's no absolute way for me to tell you how to get more auditions other than to work your little behind off. You really can't sit back passively. Not that you do, Jenny. I'm not implying that at all. I'm just saying right now I am hearing that there's still, it still hasn't quite picked up a ton of momentum, little more than the fall, but we're not rocking and rolling necessarily. But so are you on the relevant casting platforms that you can. Are your materials great? Are your headshots good? Are your do you have media up there? You need to have media. These days, there's really no excuse to not have some sort of media, some sort of representation of your work. Self-tapes are acceptable. Of course, we'd love to see material from projects that you've been in, but honestly, a great self-tape can be more effective than a not so great clip from maybe an indie or a small film that you did that maybe your role wasn't pronounced a lot, or your scene partners maybe weren't strong. A great self-tape can really be strong for you. So I don't see any reason why you guys shouldn't have media available to see on your profiles on the various platforms. There is absolutely no reason for it. Now, I do understand there's a cost associated with uploading videos to the various platforms. I get that. But you are in a very competitive industry, and you've got to really discern where you're going to invest your time and your money to put yourself forward. And I will tell you, having visual media on your profiles available for us to see is crucial, because you are in competition with people who have video. And if I'm looking at two people and I'm contemplating who I'm going to send an audition request to, I'm going to choose the person who's lower risk. And they're lower risk if I can see that they already have talent, or I can tell that they already have the right vibe. Because headshots are really important, but a headshot can't tell me the tone of voice. Do you have a high-pitched voice, a low-pitched voice? Do you have texture to your voice? Do you have a big accent, a Southern drawl? What are the qualities of you as a three-dimensional talking, moving, speaking human being? Because that can really inform me as to whether you are potentially right for a project. So it's really important now that you guys have some sort of visual media on your casting platforms. Let's see. Let me see. Make sure I don't miss any other. Hi, Stephen from Florence. Hey, Rebecca. Oh, your Christian worldview. Good to see you. Yeah, I haven't been able to head out to Christian worldview for a little while, and but it's always a wonderful time. I know Sherry's speaking, and Rebecca, I saw your post talking about it and how much prayer you guys have been putting into the event. For those of you who weren't able to make it this year, you can always put it on your calendar for next year. And I always say, think ahead for those conferences and those opportunities that you may really want to do. And then ask for your birthday present. Ask for them to maybe help pitch in on the cost, or Christmas present, or, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Sister's Day. I don't know. But if you're thinking ahead and you're planning ahead, then, people are always wondering, like, what can I get you? I want to get you something that you'll really love, or that'll be really meaningful. And, maybe that's an opportunity for someone to bless you that way. So, but you got to think ahead and kind of plan ahead that way. So Rebecca, I hope it's a great conference. I know it will be. It's always a very, at least for me, it's always been a very refreshing time of renewal, encouragement, challenge, spiritually challenging, to just make sure that my priorities are right and that I'm in the right mode of thinking as far as, how we're approaching our work, and how we don't want to get lost in that and make that our identity, but that we're always grounded in understanding who Christ has called us to be, who God has called us to be, created us to be, and that we're walking in his plan that way. But yeah, I hope you have a great week. Okay, Jared, what are your thoughts on pursuing whatever roles come your way versus waiting for a specific fit type? I think it kind of depends on the phase of your career you're in. If you're trying to build your resume and build your reel, then I would take whatever roles come your way, provided that they don't go against your any sort of parameters or boundaries that you've set for yourself, either spiritually or physically, or whatever those might be for you. But provided it doesn't go against that, I would take whatever roles come your way. If you're in that place where you still want to build your resume, build your media presence, also depending on who the directors are, the producers, they may be people that even if it's a smaller role, it's great just to get to work with them, to get on their radar. So I think it's a good thing to do most of the time, as long as it doesn't violate your boundaries. I think you'd have to be in a pretty advanced position to where you want to pick and choose. And I don't know a whole lot of actors that are in that position. But if you are, then I would look at it as the project overall, the people that you would get to work with, that you would work alongside as far as fellow actors, and balance all of that before you get too choosy picky, because you also don't want to get the reputation that you are overly picky, choosy, because they might just sort of stop considering you for something that would otherwise be a great opportunity. So I think you have to handle that pretty well. I'm always surprised. Every project, most projects, I won't say every project, I shouldn't be that definitive, but most projects I release, especially that have a faith element to it, I'm always surprised there's one or two people who come back, or their reps come back on their behalf and say they're offer only. And I think to myself, I don't think that was a good idea, because there are people who work all the time, who are just great, well-known working actors, who will still audition depending on the opportunity, an openness to that, or a director session. But I know I just would be careful about saying offer only, because the actors that those notes were sent back to me for, I don't believe should be offer only. I think they are actors who should, who are great and wonderful and, work a lot. I get that, but who I think should still be hungry and eager to act and to build and to experience different characters, and to be willing to get in there and be excited about showing what you have to bring to a character or to a role. So be careful about kind of thinking, oh, I shouldn't have to audition for that. Stay open, stay willing. Think of it as an opportunity, as a playtime, a work time, an experiment time. A really good example of that is Lee Allen Baker. So when I was doing family camp, Lee Allen Baker had just spent however many years on the #1 Disney show, and yet she was willing to audition for our show Family Camp. It's because we hadn't met, we didn't know each other, and she was like, sure, I don't know Bev, I want to get to know her. I wanted to get to know Lee Allen, and she was humble enough. She could have easily said, well, I'm offer only, but she was humble enough to be like, sure, I'll get in there and play. And of course, you see her and realize, of course, she's perfect for the role and she was fantastic. But one of the biggest impressions that made on me was her willingness and her humility in in doing that because of that unique circumstance at the time. Now, she doesn't need to audition for me again. We did it was a kind of a unique circumstances, set of new producers. She was just moving. We were right in the middle of COVID. It was really a unique circumstance. Lee Ellen doesn't need to audition. She should be offer only. Absolutely. And that makes sense. But yet I will always remember that humility and that kind of attitude. That's the way it becomes sort of a way. That's her spirit in working with people. So you can set an impression in the way that you respond to those things, even being offer only, be open to a phone call or maybe just meeting with the director. But you don't want to get the reputation of being too picky, choosy, and like, just so that you don't either get kind of labeled or thought of as high maintenance or kind of a little maybe arrogant to like pick and choose roles. Just make sure you're always approaching it with the spirit of humility, as a spirit of gratitude for the opportunities that may come your way. I get notes on people who decline an audition, because you can write a note as to like why you're declining an audition. And they're very sweet. They're declining because there's a conflict or they don't resonate with the material, and that's fair too. But they say it in such a way that it's respectful and it's grateful. Thank you so much for thinking of me for this. I don't really see myself in this role and didn't quite connect with the character, but would love the opportunity to work with you sometime and appreciate that you thought of me. Like, how beautiful is that? There's no negativity in there. Nothing says you have to love every role and you have to connect with every role or take a role where you really don't connect with it. But whatever you do it in a spirit of gratefulness, graciousness, and humility. I kind of went off on a tangent on that. See, I'm back, right? Because I'm the one who goes off on tangents. But okay, let me catch up on my comments here. Jared, did I even answer your question? I hope I did somewhere in there. Okay. Okay. Oh, Amy, Jenny, because you were in some films together. Oh, awesome. Mother-daughter. I love it. Lori, I have an agent, but I still self-submit and look on my own, which she encouraged. Yes, that's great. I would think most agents would encourage you. I think they would love that you are putting in the effort and the work and not just waiting for them to do everything. So, yeah, I would absolutely think that agents would love that about their clients. Oh, Angie, you were so welcome. Okay, Chase. Any advice for an actor whose method relies heavily on listening and reacting to a scene partner during a virtual callback when you can't see your reader because you need to keep your eye line offside camera? That is a challenge. That's a legitimate challenge, Chase. Some of it could be helped in the way you do your setup, which is that your camera and your screen where the reader would be. So your screen is just off camera. If you're using the camera in your computer, that's difficult. Obviously, because it's going to be right around your screen. But if you can do your setup to where, you can look just off camera for your eye line when you're talking to the the reader and you can actually play off of them, rather than having your camera right in the same frame as your reader. So does that make sense? Is there a reason you can't do that, I guess would be my question, because I think it would be helpful that way. But keep in mind, just like in-person auditions, there were times that you guys would get readers that didn't give you anything. So to some extent, Chase, you have to find a way to do some of that work in your own mind, in your own imagination, because you can't always rely on a reader, in person or virtual, to give you the inflection, to give you anything. I've heard tapes and seen auditions. Thankfully, my readers that I provide are always excellent, but I've seen and heard tapes where the readers are very deadpan. They're not giving you anything. They're not giving you any tone. They're just reading the line and they're not providing anything for you to work off of. So in that case, you still have to provide those things for yourself. And you can't really depend on that reader to give you that kind of stimulus. So I do think there's a certain amount of it that you have to be able to picture in your mind and imagine in your mind, if you're in a situation where the reader isn't giving you anything. But from a technical standpoint, I would think you could probably just separate the camera from the screen where the reader would be. Is there a reason you can't? Let me know. I'll keep looking at comments. Teresa, getting ready to get my professional headshots done. I'm in an area where there aren't a lot of TV movie projects happening, so I'm guessing our photographers don't know a lot about what those headshots look like. Any guidance? Yes. So research great photographers who do great headshots. You guys go ahead and for Teresa, if you know of a great headshot photographer, put the name in the comments so that Teresa, find those names, write them down, and then look them up. Because if you can look at the galleries of some really great photographers, one that I've talked about and shown headshots from is Josh Stringer. He's out of Atlanta, and his website is just joshstringer.com. He has some really interesting in his headshot gallery. Barb Jones Photography, she's out of Nashville, I believe. I think you can go and see her gallery online. So what you need to do is you need to prepare yourself, maybe have some samples of the lighting, the kinds of lighting that you want. You want to make sure the eyes are really present and the eyes are lit right, lit correctly, and make sure that they understand. You need to know what you're looking for, so that, because everything's digital, so they should be able to shoot some things and show you. So you need to educate yourself on what a good headshot is and what you want, so that you can look at those and go, okay, you know what, my eyes aren't present enough. Could you adjust that or adjust the lighting? Or, you know what, this color doesn't really look great with my skin, or whatever the case may be. You need to be as educated and not necessarily rely on the photographer. Ideally, you'll be able to show some samples and the photographer will know exactly, you know, what you're showing them, and you guys can work together. But ultimately, you want to be able to look at your own headshots and make sure you're getting what you need. If it's a photographer that doesn't do actor headshots all the time, and actor headshots, like just like you said, very different from business headshots. So make sure they're not lighting you like your average business headshot. So in order for you to be able to tell them what you need to make sure you're educating yourself about what is a good headshot and what makes a good headshot. Okay. Hi Valerie, good to see you. Sorry I couldn't spend more time with you at NRB. You guys happened to catch me when I was right in the throes of my job, but yeah, you guys did great. Okay, Remy, I have a few questions. How important is IMDb? Do actors need IMDb Pro? How important is the star meter on there? It goes up and down. Okay, so IMDb IMDb is important. We use it all the time. We look you up on IMDb. It tells us how it it gives us a sense of kind of how professional you are, maybe how serious you are as an actor. I do understand there are projects that don't end up on IMDb, but for TV film, that really is the primary place to go to look at credits, to learn about projects, to research somebody's experience. It doesn't. There's a lot of people who have stage and theater credits, and of course, those won't show up on IMDb because it's not a theater stage platform. In which case, that's when I would encourage you to maybe write, if you have extensive stage experience and credits, and theater credits, would be to put that in your bio, which you can list in the about section on IMDb. You can list a bio and you can talk about, extensive theater credits, done off Broadway in New York, or been on stage for 10 years, or graduated with a degree in musical theater, because those things don't always show up on IMDb. But for TV film work, even small short films, lower budget indies end up on IMDb. So I think it is important. As far as having IMDb Pro, here's what I'd say to you. Would it be helpful to be able to look up who the actor, directors, crew behind the projects that you want to be a part of? Absolutely. Because you want to keep an eye out for those people. You can follow them on socials. Like, I think every actor should have IMDb Pro. You should be able to go on IMDb Pro and find out who's doing the projects, who's a part of the projects that you want to be a part of. What are the projects, maybe some of your favorite directors, what other things are they doing? What do they have in development? It's the best way to cross-reference a project with who is a part of it. And also there's a section on what's coming up, what's in production. There's news from all of the trades every day on IMDb Pro, just the headlines. And while you may read those and think they don't have a whole lot to do with you, you'd be surprised by how many times I'm reading all of those, and then I see something about a project that a producer I know and love or have worked with, or actors that I know are a part of, and the headline and the article is there on the main page. So I just think it's something you should have. It's a tool, it's a resource that you should be using. So I think it's very important, personally. As far as the star meter, so the star meter is an indication of how, basically, it's how kind of high profile are you in general, how high profile are the projects that you're a part of, because that's how your star meter goes up. So like Imagine 2 came out a couple weeks ago, and so my star meter went up, which is down, but you know what I mean. My star meter got better because Imagine was coming out, and so I got a little temporary kind of push, and my star meter improved. But that will go away. It's just an ebb and flow. And so I always say you could get arrested for drunk driving and your star meter would get a bump and go up. You could be in the top 10 for doing something really stupid and it getting in the trades. So the star meter isn't always an indication. It certainly isn't an indication of whether you could act or not. It's an indication of maybe your popularity or your relevance in the projects that you're in, and are you doing projects that are consistently getting released and being seen, and people are looking you up and that kind of thing. So yes, star meters matter in not so much the specific number, but kind of the range. If you're able to get to the point where your star meter is in the like 10 top 10, 1 to 10,000 or 10,000 to 20,000, that can be helpful. 20,000 even to 30,000 can be helpful. Beyond that, there's when you get into like the hundreds of thousands, your star meter, that's when it doesn't really matter. It's not going to, we're not going to look and say, oh, he's 411,000 and he's not 327,000. Like, that's not going to make a difference. But if you're 24,000 versus 124,000, that can make a difference, because that tells us you're working, you're accumulating credits, you're active, you're in projects that are getting some momentum and getting some looks and some attention. So yeah, that's what I would say. Okay, let's see. Deborah, I have a BFA in performance and just now getting back into film after having a family. I know many people who are in that same journey, done background and featured background work, but that's it. Since I don't have a reel with self-tapes and monologues, yes. So you need to do self-tapes, okay? You need to do self-tapes. Either way, monologues or scenes. I have a thought on that, actually. And I haven't even talked to Diego about this. So Diego, don't kill me, because I have an idea. And so I'm going to spring it on you guys and on him all at the same time. He loves it when I do that, by the way. He really loves to, have me surprise him with a thought. He's not surprised that I have a thought, I don't think, but he might be surprised at the specific thought. Okay. So yes, you need to be doing self-tapes. You need to, until you have work to show from actual projects, you need to be doing self-tapes. We have to be able to see what kind of, not only can you act, but what kind of an actor are you? What is your vibe? What is your three-dimensional, being and look like and sound like? And so yes, you should be doing that. Huntsville, Alabama. I've never been to Huntsville. I've only been to Birmingham. So see, I got all these places someday I'm going to visit. Betty, for people attending their first major conferences, what are your top do's and don'ts for building professional relationships? How actors make a memorable impression without overstepping? First of all, what I would say is go in with first of all, just pray for God to open the opportunities, that God would provide the open doors and the opportunities for conversation. I would go in looking for conversation and not. Here, one of the things that I will say, and one of the mistakes that I've seen people make, and I think Diego would probably agree with this, because I think he's talked about this as well, which is sometimes you can go in and you say, okay, I want to meet this person, and this person. So you put these blinders on and you are solely focused on meeting those people you have on your list. Meanwhile, opportunities pass you by right and left for conversations with people that you have no idea could actually completely change your path, who could encourage you or bless you or may provide opportunities you don't even know about. Filmmakers and people in the industry, fellow actors who may end up being really good colleagues and friends and kind of in the trenches with you. because you're so focused on this, this, and this. Meanwhile, wonderful people who may have great insights and great experience for you, and may know people that you're trying to get to know, and maybe they can facilitate that, but you're not keeping your eyes and ears open to all that could be around you, and you're deciding in advance what your path is, rather than saying, okay, Lord, I'd love it if I could meet these people, but open the doors you have for me. Let my eyes and my heart be open. The second thing is, be a person of service to others. Be there in a way. How can you encourage someone else with your experience, with what you know or what you've learned? And maybe it's, your experience as a mom, or your experience just in life. You never know what common threads are going to connect you to someone. So yes, you can pray specifically about maybe certain opportunities you're hoping will happen, but really pray that God would just open your eyes and your heart to those people, those opportunities, those messages that He has for you, because it may not be about meeting the people you think you're supposed to meet. It may be about God completely meeting you where you are and refreshing your soul and refreshing your heart, maybe giving you a new vision of what He has for you. It may be you encouraging somebody else that is maybe in a place that you were a year ago, and you're able to encourage them. Be open. Do your research, have maybe some goals, but be open to what God would have for you at those conferences. And be of service, be open, don't be so agenda driven that you miss the good stuff. Let's see. Do you have any advice for getting involved in faith-based film? Yeah, Josh, that's a big subject. And again, there's no specific, it's like getting involved in any TV film, but like anything else, you want to do your own due diligence to understand who's making the projects that you want to be a part of, to understand the communities of people who are involved in this content, writers, directors, producers. And remember, yes, we have certain producers and writers and directors now, but there's a whole next generation coming up who will be doing that as well, who are and will be doing that as well. I've known Kevin Downes for 32 years, the very first project I ever did. I had no idea way back when I cast him and David White that they would become who they are, but we just had a friendship and we stayed in touch and we talked over time. And when they needed help, I'd jump in and help. And, when I could be of service to them, I would be, and vice versa. And here we are 32 years later. And, they've been a part of some of the biggest films that exist in the faith-based space. But I didn't know that when I met them 32 years ago. But we just built community. We built friendship. We were available to each other to just help each other out. And it grew into that. So keep in mind, you don't know who the next Kendrick brothers are going to be, who the next John Irwin, Kingdom, Wonder Project, Kevin Dett, you don't know who those people are going to be. So just make relationships, build community, make yourself available, be a part of what's happening. So for you, Josh, I would say, get into the community, understand that things like this where, we're talking about kind of what's happening and what's going on. get to know, look at the names of the people who are here in our group and get to know them and what are they doing. Visit their social media pages, their IMDb's, get to know what they're doing. Learn about the filmmakers who are making the projects that you want to make. Is there somewhere you can see them speak? Do they have, I know, John Irwin has a podcast Andy Irwin has a podcast you can listen to. Sherry Rigby has podcasts you can listen to. So there's ways that you can get to know and learn more about the people and more about the opportunities as a result. But there isn't just a button you can press that's like, this is the faith-based film track. You, like anything else, you just need to learn who are making the kinds of projects, learn more about them, what are they doing, and build community, be a part of the community. I always talk about on Facebook, Christian Casting Community Facebook page is great. And there are others as well. Venus has a great group for the sisterhood. For women, female actors, actresses specifically, kind of that's her calling. So, and you know what? We need someone to step up and do that for men. You know what? We need a Venus Monique and a Sherry Rigby for men. I don't know of anything like that. I know I just am realizing that because Venus does the Powerhouse Sisterhood Suite and has built that community. Sherry Rigby also, it's the Women in My World. She feels also very called to speak to women creatives. So Jared Hernandez, Chase Giacomo, who's gonna be the spearhead for the male version of that, building community and encouraging, and yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. So anyway, Josh, that's my answer. Okay, for actor reels, what time duration do you recommend? 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes. It depends on how much great material you have. So I wouldn't go over. 2 is probably ideal, maybe 2:30, but only if the material's great. Don't fill 2 minutes with stuff that isn't good. So if you only have one scene right now that's great, then let it be that one scene. If you have a ton of stuff and you're going to have to pare it down, that I would say probably somewhere in the 2 to 3 minutes, but I wouldn't go over 3. It's probably not going to get watched all the way through. What we tend to do is watch the beginning, which is most important, what you put first, and then maybe skip around to see what else, samples of what else is on there. And then you can look at either on your own website or on your Actors Access or your Breakdown Services profile, adding the longer clips of some of the things. If you have a bunch of material and you can't put it all in a reel, then you can upload the longer versions of those clips or post them on if you have a website, or post them on a YouTube page, however you want to do that. So hi, Don. Good to see you. Let's see. Oh, Angela says frozen feed. Hopefully I'm back. I'm sorry if I froze. Jared, you are so funny. Very much audition only. I love it. Of course you are, Jared. Okay. Robin recently had that situation on a projector, did choose to cast the person offer only, but this person had over 200 episodes of television. Yes. So we will choose. I send out offers on every project I do because recognizability and names are important to the marketing of the film. So financing is often contingent upon getting a certain amount of recognizability so that you can have greater chances to get distribution. So the reality is every project I do, I end up making offers to offer only people. And I get it. But these are people, like you said, that there's just a plethora of work. They are working all the time. They are a recognizable face. They are, you can see a myriad of different kinds of characters. And so it's not like we can't see a lot, like there's plenty of work to see and to learn about them and to understand that. And to some extent, they have earned that right. Like they've worked enough. They worked their tail off for years and years and years, so that there is enough work for you to be able to know, yes, they could do this role. I don't need them to read. And going back to the Lee Allen of it, that's the case. I mean, she has worked very, very hard and very diligently. And so there's being offer only is not a negative. I'm saying I sometimes see people who label themselves offer only who I believe are missing out on opportunities that they might have if they were just willing to read. Because I have plenty of times where a director doesn't know them. I know them, but the director may not. And if they're not willing to read, the director says, I'm not interested. And there's nothing I can do. It doesn't matter that I know them. I mean, I can send clips, I can do whatever to try to educate them. But if the director doesn't know them and the director needs to see a read before he'll make a decision, then you won't have that opportunity. So just be mindful and be really wise about, like I said, being overly picky. Make sure it doesn't come off standoffish or arrogant in any way. Selah, when is a good time to acquire a manager? Of course. So, I mean, a manager is really some people, if you don't have an agent and you have someone as a manager who is willing to champion you while you don't have an agent and may even be able to connect you with agent opportunities, and they may be able to help you get an agent, then you may go the management route first. But typically, if you have agents or an agent, the manager comes in when you're at the point where you want to maybe expand your career or add another dimension to what you're doing. Or if you're someone who's working TV film, but you also want to do stage and theater. And so your agents are typically TV film agents. So they're going to handle that. Maybe your manager can come in and help you go after those opportunities that are different than the TV film world. Or if it's you want to expand, you want to do a podcast, if you want to become a public speaker, or you have a ministry it's really about expanding your universe, expanding your the kind of work that you're doing beyond what your agents can handle, or handle's the wrong word, beyond the area that your agents are focused on, which will be TV, film, or print, or, whatever area they're repping you. The manager would be if you want to expand out. So for example, I mean, obviously I've been casting now for 32 years, but I connected with Diego when I wanted to start expanding into more speaking, more teaching, the social media side of it. That was a weakness for me. A manager could be great for helping you build your social media footprint. And that's a different kind of a manager. But if you just get someone that just handles that side of it for you, that can be huge. So there's no set time. Understand that more people doesn't necessarily mean better. I think you want to expand when what you want to do and the work you want to do is expanding. Hopefully that makes sense. Don Overstreet, I had to turn down 2. One was because of a car stunt scene was changed, more dangerous. Get that. My body type thought I was skinnier than what I am. Yeah, it happens. That happens all the time. Stunts. You got to make your call on that. Randy McDowell, look at you. Chris John Photography LA. See there, we're getting some names, you guys. So write down these photographers' names. Go research. Go look them up online and look at their galleries. Educate yourself about good headshots. What's good? Look at the lighting in the eyes, the backgrounds they're choosing versus the skin tone. Are they able to capture the moments, the internal dialogue that's happening behind the eyes as you are being photographed? It should not feel stilted and overly posed. I think I've said this, but it's been a long time. I was doing headshots with a photographer here that I like. She shoots external. Outside is how she likes to shoot best. And I happen to like that for me. I'm not an actor, so the vibe of my shots are a little bit different. And so she was great at that. I loved what she did. I used her a couple of different times. And then she said, hey, I have a friend she doesn't consider herself a headshot photographer, even though she's beautiful. She was accustomed to doing like family shoots and senior portraits and things like that. But the great thing she did as a photographer is she was accustomed to shooting in the moment, to capturing life and to capturing mid thought or expression. She just was more in the moment as things were happening. And then she said, okay, I have my friend who's an actual headshot photographer. He's going to come because I want to learn from him. So he's going to come. I'm setting up my inside studio and I'd love to have him do headshots with you so I can learn. Like, great, no problem. That photographer had me posing within an inch of my life. I mean, he was literally like, okay, lean forward. Okay, chin forward. Okay, could you tilt your head a little bit? Okay, could you look at your eyes? No, your eyes need to go a little bit high. I mean, I felt so stiff and so posed. There was not anything natural or alive or present in those photos. And later I went back to her and said, please just keep doing what you're doing because you're capturing life. You're capturing humanity. You're capturing emotion and laughter and thoughts and contemplation. That's what we want to see, not everything perfectly posed, like Olin Mills. And so I want you guys to look at these photographers, the several ones that are being mentioned in the comments. I won't read them all, but look at them, research what their headshots, what they look like, what's the textures they're using, what are the backdrops, do you like interior, exterior, those kinds of things. Make sure, I'm going to say this again, make sure you get the light in the eyes, make sure the eyes are present, that they're lit, and understand the subtlety of, I always say this with headshots. I don't want you to go in there with just a list of wardrobe changes. Like, here's my judge shot. Here's my lawyer shot. Here's my cop shot. Here's my nurse shot. Here's my teacher shot. No. I don't need to know if you can change clothes and look different. I need the essence behind those characters. for TV film, commercials different. Commercials far more on the nose and far more like what you see is what you get, kind of. It can be anyway. But for TV film, I don't want to see you in nurses' scrubs with a stethoscope. I want to see someone who looks compassionate and kind and safe and welcoming and nurturing. I want to see those qualities. I don't need to see you posed with your arms crossed with scrubs and a stethoscope. I need to see those qualities. So that's what I want. I want the qualities behind those prototypes. A judge is strong and confident, educated, a leader, someone who has earned a level of respect and should demand a level of respect, authority. I want those qualities. I don't just want a judge's robe. Anyone can throw on a judge's robe. It doesn't mean they can play a judge. Okay. I want the qualities behind it. Make your headshots more interesting. Communicate more than just wardrobe changes. Okay. I get a little passionate about that. Can you tell? Okay. Randy has a film that's out right now on Prime Video, and it's been, I think, over a week now in the top 10 for drama. And so if you want to show Randy some love, it's called Downriver. It's on Prime Video. It's kind of a gritty crime thriller, a little bit darker, but super interesting. So, and you get to see Randy, and who doesn't love that? So anyway, you might go check that out. Prime Video, Downriver, right? Randy, I have the right title, right? I hope I have the right title. Let's see. Yeah, I love all these names of photographers. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, let's see. Will agents even consider if you're just getting started? That's a tough one. A lot of agents don't take you until you've gotten a certain amount of momentum. So you need to do all that you can on your side before, just to make yourself as marketable, as attractive meaning your materials. I'm not talking about physical attractive. I'm talking about your materials. And there's a lot you have control over that I want you to be taking control of. Let's see. In some situation, you might be able to log into a virtual audition room twice, camera on one device and the screen on another, which is a clever idea I hadn't thought of. But you're right, not something to solely rely. I had an in-person callback 2 weeks ago where the reader delivered it deadpan. Yeah, so you've got to develop that skill set to be able to kind of make a blank wall still what you need it to be. And that it does take an immense amount of kind of immersion into the world, and understanding of the world and the textures of the world, regardless of what they give you. But yeah. Okay, I realize I'm going really, really late, and that's because it's my first week back. So I didn't get to all of you guys. I'm so sorry. Venus, I love tracking IMDb. I love tracking certain friends and filmmakers so I get notified when they start working on something. Yeah, and that may not be necessarily IMDb. Yes, you can track on IMDb, and then they also have a section that's in production, but it can also be a way to find out who's doing what in development side. There's just a lot of reasons. Get in the casting side of auditions. Okay, Declan, I can't get into that. Come on again and ask that another time, like another Tuesday. Okay. And then I'll be happy to maybe talk about that a little bit. So, okay, you guys, there's a lot of comments I didn't even get to. Let's see. Diego just spoke to a director today about casting some of my clients. He mentioned that 2018 was when he first met the producer for the movie. It's been 8 years when that relation developed into a production. Yeah, absolutely. You guys just be open to the relationships, be open to being of service to somebody else, be open to what God may have for you that you don't even know yet what it can be or may be or will be. Yeah. Natasha, another good question. Ask it on on one of our next ones. Okay. So I'm going to tease what I want to do. And I'm going to only tease it because I've already talked way too long. But I am looking to start a Let's Talk Tuesday self-tape challenge. And in which case, I'll give some parameters. We'll give a deadline and a deadline for turning it in and a parameters as far as how long it can be, few parameters on the material. And I want to set up a YouTube page where we can post those things and kind of be building our community, showing our work, a place where if someone wants to go and look at a bunch of really great actors and the work that they're doing, just creating a Let's Talk Tuesday YouTube channel where we can put each other's work. And I want to challenge you so that you guys are doing these self-tapes, so that you have a reason and a deadline to do them and get them done. And so I want to give you that motivation. So I'll talk more about it next week as soon as I actually talk to Diego about it, because he knows nothing about this little brainchild that I have. So all of you comments I didn't get to, I will just keep asking them. I'm sorry I couldn't get to everything tonight, but I love you guys. I'm so excited to be back. I'm just so grateful for you. I'm grateful for our community. I'm grateful for the way you guys serve each other in this group and provide answers and encouragement from your own experiences. And I'm just so happy that I get to be a part of your journey as well. So I'm going to sign off for tonight, but we will be back next week. Love you all. Have an amazing week. See ya. Bye.